Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and just as a reminder, if you're wondering why I'm filming stuff like this, I thought it would be, different for October, film in the dark, that sort of thing, a little bit of a mood. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, get your hand in it so no one can see it. But I figure I would review, I've reviewed a lot of horror film franchises on this channel. They're still up, like the Elm Street films, the Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Phantasm, Poltergeist, Exorcist, Psycho, see, Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, Hellraiser. I've reviewed a lot of horror film franchises. Again, if you go on my channel, you'll find them. Just type in like Psycho, or not all, but quite a few of them are on playlists as well. I review a lot. But there was one franchise that I know at least one person has been asking me for over a year to look into and review, and I've been telling them, no, or maybe one day, because I just haven't been in the mood. But I figure, you know what, I'll do it. It's Halloween season. And the reason I was hesitant is because I'm not even much of a fan of the first one. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I think it's okay at best. And that is the Howling films, which there are 8 of them. Yes, I will re-review the 7th one, New Moon Rising, which to me is one of the worst fucking movies of all time, and I'll give that another shot. But if I made my top 5 werewolf movies, if I made a list, I may make a video of that after this, actually. Not this video, but after I review all the Howling films. My top 5 favorite werewolf films are Dog Soldiers, Stephen King's Silver Bullet, yeah, Dog Soldiers, Stephen King's Silver Bullet, Bad Moon, Full Eclipse, and Late Phases. I liked American Werewolf in London, alright. I liked it more than this film, but it just would not be in my top 5. I do like it more than this because I like the humor in it more. And like an American man stole my balloon. I did see that movie Howl. I didn't care for it. I thought it was boring. I thought it was a kind of a neat premise that they didn't really do anything with, and I thought the ending was pretty much ass, in my opinion. Blood and Chocolate is as shitty as the title sounds, and there's been some fun films with werewolves in them. Waxwork, The Monster Squad. But I mean, and I'm sure people ask, well, why do you pick those as your top 5, like Dog Soldiers and Silver Bullet? I'll do a top 5 sometime this month and just watch that. I reviewed Bad Moon and Dog Soldiers. They're on my channel, and I reviewed Late Phases as well. That's on my channel. Ginger Snaps was never my cup of tea. Now I'm just thinking of all sorts of werewolf films. But getting to this, the first of 8 movies. This is the special edition of Scream Factory I got a long, long time ago for whenever I did these reviews. And I like special features. I like hearing about a movie. I like hearing about a film. Even if it's a film that I'm not the biggest fan of, I like hearing about it. I always remember this poster. It's a good poster. And it has a lot of features. It has the commentary from the DVD with Joe Dante, Robert Picardo, Dee Wallace, Christopher Stone, who's no longer with us. Fun commentary. You have a 50-minute making of from the DVD. You have some new interviews with like Mark Goldblatt, who is an editor, with one of the producers, with one of the writers, Terrence H. Winkless, Horror's Hallowed Grounds, which is always fun to watch with Sean Clark, among others. And the thing about this film, I think it's okay. I just feel it's overrated. I do. I feel it's an overrated film. There's stuff I like. I enjoy the effects by Rob Bottin, which I know Rick Baker was going to do this. Then John Landis was like, wait a minute, you don't do our film. We're getting ready to do it now. So Rick Baker's like, okay, I'll turn this over to a guy I'm working with, Robert Bottin, and he did a great job. The werewolves look cool. I'll say they do. Robert Picardo, like there's a scene where his character's got an acid on him and his face is all fucked up. I think it's some good effects. I do. I like it. One piece of the score I like by Pino Donaggio. The piece of the score that's like, oh, 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 that weird sort of choral, almost choir. I like that piece of the score. I like Dick Miller. He has about 2 or 3 quick scenes. And see, as I was watching this film again, I'm like, you know what? I see 2 films I would rather see. Either Dick Miller as the lead. He runs this shop. He doesn't really believe this stuff, but then something happens and he starts to believe it more and more, and he decides to go monster hunting. And you have Dee Wallace in there, but Dick Miller's the lead, or even if you don't have Dee Wallace in there, have Dick Miller, who's in this town running this shop, doesn't believe in this shit. Then shit happens and he starts believing in this, and then he's got to go monster hunting, starring Dick Miller. I want to see that movie. I would rather have seen that movie. This character going monster hunting. Or I would like to have seen the beginning of the film, which is interesting, where Dee Wallace is a newscaster who's bait for a killer, played by Robert Picardo. He does a good job in it. And the killer's his MO is the smiley face. The smiley face here. Stickers plastered all over where he's at. She waits in this phone booth, and that's where you get a little cameo by Roger Corman. And she goes into this porn shop, and this Robert Picardo kind of leads her to this porno booth and fucks with her. And then cops come in, guy gets shot, you think he's dead, but then later on, and John Sayles, the writer of this, an Alligator, around the same time. And I'll be honest, I like Alligator a lot more. I thought Alligator handled the horror and humor better. I liked Robert Forster more as a lead. I like that it took place in the city. And Alligator, I really enjoy. A lot more than this one. Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm the guy that likes Alligator more than the Howling. Fucking sue me. I mean, getting back to what I was saying, that whole idea of the news, and there's some good lighting when they're in the booth, and she turns around. You can't see Robert Picardo's face, but you see a little bit of lighting, so you see that something's messed up. There's some good lighting and mood. I like the way the city looks. Kind of looks a little bit like not exploitation, but like a film in a sleazy city that you would see in the 70s. Which makes sense because this was 81 when it came out. So they shot it in, 1980? And I would love to have seen the rest of the film still in the city. Dee Wallace is a newscaster, fine. But also involve like a cop she's got to work with. Say Sam Elliott or Tommy Lee Jones. Because they were working around this time. I mean, Sam Elliott before that had done Frogs. If he's willing to do Frogs, I think he'd be willing to do this. Tommy Lee Jones, I think he had done a film called The Eyes of Lower Mars. I haven't seen it. I've heard of it. I think it's based on a script by John Carpenter. I haven't seen it, though. And, of course, he had done that film Rolling Thunder in the 70s. Imagine like a cop, like Tommy Lee Jones or Sam Elliott, who's working with this newscaster, Dee Wallace, and the serial killer that kills by day and then kills as a werewolf by night. By day, he kills as a human being serial killer, killing other people. By night, he's a wolf, killing people, and then maybe at a point in the film, they think it's 2 killers. Is it 2 killers? Is it 2 people doing it? Because he kills one way as a human, he kills one way as a wolf, and we have like wolf attacks, but yeah, we have a serial killer in our hands, and it's like, wait a minute, they're both. Then put some action in there, have it take place entirely in the city. So either taking place entirely in the city, Maybe like a good version of Wolfen. Like if Wolfen was a good movie, maybe that. Or because there's not many werewolf films in a city, like entirely in the city. Usually it's in a. I mean, I guess American Wolf in London technically. I mean that's London, but I mean stateside, like in New York or San Francisco or L.A. or something like that. That's kind of why I liked a little bit of Full Eclipse. I mean, it was made for cable, so they only had enough budget, but it was kind of the idea more of an action movie version of a werewolf film. Dog Soldiers, that was in the woods, but that'll always be my favorite. Just it's just, hey, aliens, but it's with werewolves. But I'm going off kilter with it. But yeah, that piece of score by Pino Donaggio I like. I like the werewolf effects. Dee Wallace does okay. I don't think she's great, only because I don't think the script did her any favors because her character is really nothing. I think she was much better in Cujo. She didn't really have much to do in Critters, but she wasn't the lead in Critters. She was just a supporting character. But I thought she did much better in Cujo. Here, she really has nothing to do. I mean, she's the star, but she's pretty much just scared, and she needs therapy. And she gets scared by dreams, nightmares. Then at the end, she turns to a shitty fucking dog. She almost looks like fucking Tim Allen, the Shaggy Dog, only if it was shit brown. That's a shitty effect. But see, there's not much to her character. I think Dee Wallace does okay acting. Just her character sucks. If people say it's a good character, what's good about her character is what I would ask. Her character in Cujo is interesting. She's a flawed character. She's cheating. But she's a tough mom who's going to stand by her kid and do whatever she can. This horrible ordeal in Cujo. Here, she's like 3 steps away from being, oh, I broke the nail, dead weight. But yeah, the stuff in the city was interesting. But then Kevin McCarthy, you have some recognizable faces. Kevin McCarthy is the head of the TV station. You have, when they get to the colony, Patrick Macnee, who I remember from Waxwork. People remember him from other stuff. He's a psychiatrist. John Carradine is part of the colony. Slim Pickens and some others. Dennis Dugan is one of the main characters who works with. He works with Dee Wallace and actually is one of the heroes of the movie and the final survivor of the film, Dennis Dugan. If that name sounds familiar, this is the guy who would go on to direct comedies like Happy Gilmore. So yeah, Dennis Dugan, the guy who shoots Robert Picardo with the gun, which has silver bullets, and is shooting werewolves at the end and tries to get Dee Wallace out of there. That's Dennis Dugan, the guy who would direct Happy Gilmore and some other Adam Sandler films. I think he also did Problem Child, and I think Beverly Hills Ninja. Could be wrong. Don't call me on that. But, and it's because, after this ordeal, you think Robert Ricardo's dead, but later on he escapes, and John Sayles, the writer, plays the morgue attendant. But she undergoes therapy from the psychiatrist, Patrick Macnee, who says, go to this colony in the middle of the woods. And there's violin and fucking country bands playing. New, 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 new. Great. That'll be a fucking. That's like a foreshadowing for fucking Howling 7. Although this is a masterpiece compared to Howling 7. And when they get to the colony, not much happens. Christopher Stone, may you rest in peace, but his character didn't really do anything for me. He couldn't get sex with his wife. This female with titties hanging out seduces him. He gets attacked, scratched up. Later on, he's getting pissed, smacks Dee Wallace in the face. Gets led to have a werewolf sex scene, which ends with a shitty animation. Which I know that's all they could do in 1981, but that doesn't hold up. The animation, the teeny bit at the end, it's like red glow around them. It made me think like they're getting zapped, like they're one of the trancers and they're getting zapped and they're dying. But though it's like a red glow over them, I just turn to a werewolf while fucking. And I know in this film they play around with the rules of it doesn't need to be a full moon. They can change any time by will. Which part of me is like, why the fuck is Patrick Macnee bringing these two people over here when everyone in the county, everyone else is a fucking werewolf? And I'm like, why are you bringing them here? Like, if you're going to turn them, you could turn them in 5 minutes because there's like 10, 12 of you and only like two of them. At this point, Dee Wallace and Chris Stone. Why don't you just grab them and turn them? And then you do your mind fuck on them. But yeah, I don't know what what they were really trying to do. But it's sort of trying to take the piss out of self-help guru shtick, and I just didn't give a shit. I didn't think the film was funny. That was one thing. I mean, people talk about how funny this movie is, and a hip, well-made horror film brimming with film buff jokes and amazing wolf transformations. Leonard Maltin. The transformations are good, but the film buff jokes, you see like little bits on TV of Lon Chaney Jr.'s The Wolf Man. Apparently, a lot of the characters' names are based on directors who directed werewolf films in the past. It just didn't matter to me. That stuff didn't matter to me because that was before my time, I guess. And when they get to a colony, not much really happens. Sometimes I smile when Dick Miller showed up, who works at his shop. He's like, "Oh yeah, werewolves. They're worse than cockroaches." Do you believe this stuff? You kidding me? I just do what I can to get paid. I could take Mastercard or Visa. I wish he was the lead. He was the most interesting character. He's on screen for like 2 minutes, but it got boring. It was the hunting. Chris Stone shoots a rabbit. Goes to the nympho woman to cook the rabbit. She tries to seduce him. He walks out, gets attacked by a werewolf, scratched. The Dugan's woman comes up to see Dee Wallace. Then Chris Stone, who's been bit, has the werewolf sex scene. Then Dugan's girl finds his shack, and she gets attacked by a werewolf. She cuts an arm off, and I like the effects of that. The arm cutting off and bladder effects bubbling and turning more into a regular human hand. I like that. And during that turn, Chris Stone comes back, smacks Dee Wallace in the face. And then it cuts back, and the Dennis Dugan's girl gets killed by the werewolf. I like the werewolf suit. The werewolf suit is one of the best werewolf suits I've seen. I wish it was used in other movies. Like, take that werewolf and use it in Silver Bullet. Because I love Silver Bullet, but the werewolf isn't the best looking. But take the werewolf in this and put in that. To me, a better movie. To me. I like the characters and the story and such more in that movie. Here, not so much. See, that's the thing. Other than Dick Miller, I don't care about any of the characters. Well, Robert Picardo is good as the bad guy, the serial killer guy. I like him. But Dee Wallace wasn't really that interesting of a lead. I didn't really care if she lived or died. And what happened to her at the end, I didn't give a shit, really. Chris Stone, rest in peace, but his name fits, Stone. Dennis Dugan, he was just interesting because I knew that's the guy who would dread Happy Gilmore later on. But yeah, the werewolf kills the Dennis Dugan's girl. Yeah, I like the wolf suit. Dee Wallace finds her friend with her throat ripped out, and she doesn't even have much of a reaction. Like, literally, she looks and like a sheet. There's her friend, throat ripped out, and she goes, that's all she did. Like, don't believe me? Watch the film. She's like, And then she can't pick up the phone right, but that's her reaction. Like, or, oh shit, or what the fuck, or my god, or what? Or a stream would be, it makes sense, but no, she's like, oh, hmm. Like, so you burn the dark casserole, burn the damn biscuits. I don't, like, what's up with that reaction? And then the big transformation scene, which I know some people would say, well, why the fuck doesn't Dee Wallace try to escape sooner? Because the transformation scene is like 5 minutes long, and the whole time Dee Wallace just staring at it. But I could deal with it because she kind of is trapped in a corner, and this big thing's in the way. And she is kind of trapped in the corner, and there is a thing in the way, so she'd have to climb over, and I can understand that. But the Robert Picardo bladder effects turned to a werewolf looks really cool. It's definitely the best scene in the movie. She splashes acid in the face, runs out, and she gets caught and pulled into a barn with all these guys who realize they're all werewolves, and they don't want to listen to Patrick Macnee anymore because Patrick Macnee doesn't want them hunting humans because we gotta have a low profile. While John Carradine and the others are like, fuck that shit, fuck this self-help, self-guru shit. They're the prey, we're the hunter, let's just eat them. Then the student comes up, finds Robert Picardo. I like the effect with this. His face is fucked up because of the acid, and then Dugan shoots him. He gets to the barn, shoots their ass, and the ending is kind of anticlimactic to me in a way. I say in a way because really Dennis Dugan he shoots a few, but just you go in the barn, you shut the door, and most of them get burned by fire. And then they're driving away and they get attacked. Some Pickens tries to shoot him. He gets shot because he's a werewolf too. As they're leaving the car and the werewolves are attacking, one bites Dee Wallace and she shoots it. And it was her husband or her fiance, Chris Stone. And then that scene people remember where she's on TV and she goes, "Tonight I'm going to show you something." Which I don't mind that performance of her. That's a good of her performance. That's the best part to me because I'm going to show you something that's sort of what they did with her eyes, and then she looks and the tear that goes down. I liked that, but then when it cuts away, honestly, I think all you needed was that. You needed just her with the tear and the teeth and her eyes changing, and then she changes, and then you shoot. You didn't need to cut back to see this fucking shaggy dog looking bitch. I'm not calling Dee Wallace a bitch. I'm calling that shaggy. It looks like if Tim Allen's shaggy dog fell in a vat of shit. It's a shitty effect. And speaking of effects, I know that when the werewolves are being burned in the barn, there was supposed to be some stop motion, which they show a little bit in here. I like the stop motion, but I understood that the lighting wasn't the same, and it did take you out of the movie. It's almost as if it was from a different movie, because I know they showed it, and someone went, "Where's that? What movie is that from?" So I understood that. So they just cut in some shots of people with practical mask and teeth, and which worked better. But just like a lot of these werewolves, they just get burned in the barn, and then there's still like 3 or 4. There's still ones left, and even when she shows it on TV and gets killed by Dennis Dugan, didn't matter because, which I know that's the joke. That's the joke where some people watching TV, and this would happen in real life. So I got a little bit of a smirk out of it where one guy goes, "Oh man, they can do a lot with special effects." And then another guy believes it, but he's very nonchalant. And then in that bar, you have the nympho female werewolf bitch wanting a rare burger rare. I know it seems like I've been downing on this film a bit, and you'd be right. I just I like to end it, because I know I'm gone pretty long. I like that score by Pino Donaggio, that piece of the score. The rest is there, but I like the. I liked that. I liked Dick Miller. I wish Dick Miller was the lead. I like the parts in the city. I wish that was the entire movie. And just add in a cop, add in Sam Elliott or Tom Lee Jones or someone else with Dee Wallace, a newscaster, and dealing with a serial killer who is also a werewolf. I think that would have been cooler to me. For me, it would have been cooler. Consider how many fucking Howling sequels they did. Why didn't they do that? There's like eight. There's like 7 more fucking Howling sequels. Why the fuck didn't they do that idea? Werewolf in the City. Do it like Maniac Cop or something. Maniac Cop 2. That's a damn good movie. But so I like Pino Donaggio, that piece of score. I like the effects. Yeah, I like Dick Miller. I wish he was the lead. Like the special effects, Rob Bottin are great. I just see why he got John Carpenter's The Thing afterward, which I like that much more than this. So Dick Miller, the effects, that one piece score by Pino Donaggio, and there's some nice lighting in certain sequences. And I think it's technically well made by Joe Dante, but this is one of my least favorite Joe Dante films, honestly. I like Gremlins much more. I liked Gremlins 2 much more. I liked Inner Space much more. I liked The Burbs. The Burbs with Tom Hanks is my favorite. The Burbs is my favorite. Gremlins 1 and 2, Inner Space. I think they have a lot more wit or imagination or funny stuff in the script, or I probably would say I like this more. No, no, I can't. I still like Explorers more because the first half of Explorers is very magical, and that first half is better than this movie, in my opinion, of Explorers. So I would put it above this. Piranha, I put Piranha above this. Piranha's has some fun stuff to it. I would put Piranha above this. It's not my least favorite. The Hole, or whatever the fuck that movie was. I would put Matinee with John Goodman above this. So yeah, it is one of my least favorite. My least favorite is The Hole. I know someone's going to ask, would you watch his Looney Tunes movie over this? Yeah. Because I don't mind that film. It's not, I like Space Jam more, but I would actually watch Looney Tunes back in action. I'd rather watch that. Which I know, once again, piss people off. But if you're not honest, what's the fucking point? This is why I wasn't sure on reviewing this franchise, but that one guy wanted it. I rarely do requests because anytime you do a request, you get like 50 more, but fuck it. At least get one franchise out of the way. Maybe more if I get to it. But yeah, I don't care for the characters that much. Dee Wallace, her character really did nothing for me. The other characters didn't do much, except Dick Miller and Robert Picardo. The rest of the score, other than that one piece I liked, is kind of there. When they got to the colony, I thought it was tedious and slow and boring, and I don't think it was as funny as people make it out to be. I don't know what's so funny about this film. I'm not saying it was supposed to be a comedy, but I'm just saying, like, Alligator's not a comedy, but I found much more funny, humorous stuff in that. Here, not so much. And yeah, I think it's an okay for the effects and Dick Miller and stuff, but I still think it's overrated. Just the characters and going out in the woods of the colony was just fucking boring. At least to me. Sluggishly paced. And the ending was unsatisfying. Was not satisfied with the ending. Taking care of the werewolves or even the bit at the end. Just not satisfying to me. That's just my opinion though. By the way, thanks for watching. Take care. And next time I'll be talking about Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf. Or I swear there was another title that had bitch in the title. I don't know what that title was, but Yeah. Next time be Howling 2 with Reb Brown, Christopher Lee, and Sybil Danny's tits. So see you in a bit.